in one class, I was able to come back and like I felt stronger and I felt already capable of doing those things. Hey guys, what's up? It's Simone. I just wanted to make this video to do a review of my SoulCycle experience. So last week I went to my first SoulCycle class here in the Loop. The location that was the closest to me was the Chicago Loop area. The studio is beautiful. It's just like the pictures online, and it's just like everyone that I like watched videos about had said. Like the studio is really nice and clean, and like the designs are really pretty. So you buy the class online. Your first class is only $20 if it's your very first class. You go pay for the class, and right now because of COVID, you have to wear your mask the entire time during the workout. And obviously, from the moment you open the door, you walk in, they scan your forehead for your temperature, and then from there you check in on the app. And after you check in, you then go up to the front desk if it's your first ride, and you sign like a lot of like two different waivers, and then you rent your shoes, like your cycling shoes. So once I was done with all of that, I walked into the locker room, and you can it's not like an actual locker where you can put a lock on. There's already a lock made into the locker. So you set up your code, and it takes like maybe 5 minutes at the most. So you set up a code, and then you like put your things in the locker, and then you close it, and you just turn the lock to the right, and then you move the wheel a couple times so that your numbers are not like in there anymore. And so you make a little code for your locker, you put your cycling shoes on, and you change out of all your like your jacket and your purse and all that stuff, and you bring your water, and you go right into the studio. Once you're in the studio, obviously for your very first time, the instructor will help you make sure your bike is set up. They're supposed to not come over to you, but obviously if you're having trouble, they'll help you. They make sure your bike is set up according to your height, and then they help you click in. The hardest part for me, honestly, was clicking in. And even with that, it's not even that hard. It's kind of awkward because like I had never clipped into a bike before. I had cycled before. I had done like a spinning class, but I had never locked into a bike. So that was kind of difficult, but it's like sort of like putting high heels on, which is like one of the instructors, Ryan, that's how he explained it to me. So that makes sense. It's kind of like putting high heels on, but like the hill is the bike. So it's weird, but you'll get the hang of it. It's not that hard. Once you get clipped into the bike, you kind of just roll around for a little bit, making sure that like the bike is sturdy and making sure that like you're in the right position and everything. Then the class starts, and that's where the fun part happens because they turn the lights down. They have like they have candles on the podium where the instructor is, and like everything's very like calm and serene. The music starts going, and you start cycling, and like you're doing all these different like choreography moves and all this stuff. So obviously for my very first time, it was very hard for me to keep up with the choreography, but they tell you on your first time, it's just about having fun. So just don't go in there with any intention of being perfect. Just go in there, get the hang of the bike, get the hang of like moving on the bike. And obviously the very first class I was not as strong, so most of the class you're upright in the bike, you're not sitting in the seat, you're like actually standing on the bike, which is good because that obviously doesn't hurt your butt as much. But since I wasn't as strong and I didn't have enough durability to stand up in the bike for like 45 minutes in that class, so I had to sit down a lot. So after my first class, my butt was like hurting really bad because of the seat, and then my legs were hurting so bad, like I was so sore. But that's because I hadn't worked out in like months, and I went straight from not ever having worked out in a long, long time, this whole pandemic, to going straight into a full-blown SoulCycle class. So obviously my legs were very, very sore. But that soreness and like that pain or whatever, after the first class went away in like 2 days, and then I felt perfectly fine. And then I was offered a free second class to come back, which I really, really enjoyed because now I got in there and I knew exactly how to check in and how to get my shoes and how to get the locker set up. So a lot of those like initial first like first things I didn't know how to do, obviously it became easier. I got everything set up. I was able to clip in with a little bit of instructor help, but like it was much easier this time. So the second time I was so proud of myself because I was able to do pretty much everything the instructor was doing, and I stayed upright. Like I stayed upright on the bike. I wasn't sitting down. I only sat down twice during the whole class, and even the 2 times that I sat down was only for like less than a minute. It was just because I had kind of messed up in the choreography, so I had to like kind of reset my body. But everything else I was able to do perfectly well, exactly how the instructor, not exactly, like obviously some things I messed up a little bit, but like for the most part, my body was strong enough to be able to do everything that he was doing, which is what I'm trying to get across. So like it's amazing that only in one class I was able to come back and like I felt stronger and I felt already capable of doing those things. So I'm excited about my third class. I'm thinking about going back next week. And honestly, I just had a great experience. Like SoulCycle, I've always wanted to do it. It's one of those like bucket list things. I was going to do it when I was in LA back in March, but I didn't really have a lot of time while I was there, so I decided not to. So I'm glad that I got the experience of doing it here, you know, here at home in Chicago. And now it's going to be something fun to do. Like whenever I travel, I'll try to look up SoulCycle studios in that city to see, you know, what it's like there at that place. And like they have them all across the world, and especially obviously in pretty much every major city here in the United States. So I'm excited about going to travel and like trying out different SoulCycles around the world. But yeah, other than that, like I love SoulCycle. I can't wait to make it a part of my daily, well, not daily routine, but like maybe my like monthly routine. I would probably go. My plan is to try to go at least once a week. It is pretty on the expensive side. It's like almost $30 per class, but right now they offer a deal. If you're in between your first 5 classes, you can get a pack of like a 3 pack of classes for only $60, which makes it only $20 per class. So, you know, you save a little bit of money that way. But even with the $30 per class, it's not that. Okay, so I plan to try out SoulCycle for maybe about a month and then maybe do a 1 month SoulCycle review. So I'm still trying to work out like the scheduling and to see how it fits into my schedule and how it fits into like my finances as well, because the classes are kind of expensive. So I'll let you guys know and I'll keep you up in the process, but I do love SoulCycle and I have had a great experience. So if you're trying it, if you're considering trying it out, I highly suggest it. If you do try it out, leave me a comment or maybe even email me and tell me about your experience. And let me know if you ever try any of the Chicago locations. As well as let me know if you ever want to try a SoulCycle class together. I love to do SoulCycle with other SoulCycle friends in the area. Thank you so much for watching and subscribe.